Hi, class. Let's start. It's about leadership experience, chapter 9, leadership communication. How do you communicate as a leader with others? Now, the learning objective is learn how to act as a communication champion and a sense giver rather than just as information processor. Use key element of effective listening and understand why listening is important to a leader communication, because most of the time we have a tendency to speak, not to listen. Use candor appropriately to improve communication effectiveness and recognize and apply the difference between dialogue and discussion. Differentiate between dialogue and discussion. Also, we need to incorporate metaphor and storytelling into your leadership communication. Select an appropriate communication channels for your message and effectively use social media and nonverbal communication. Communication channels, you need to understand how it works and how effective in certain scenarios. Communicate in a way that persuades and influence others. Effectively communicate during the time of stress and crisis. So what's a communication? Communication is a process by which information and understanding are transferred between a sender and a receiver. So basically, there is a sender here, as you see, and he formulate or she formulate a message utilizing the channel, and then the message, it could be a verbal or non-verbal symbols through the channel received to the receiver. The receiver interprets the message and formulate another message, and also the process that it could be a verbal or non-verbal symbols and through the channel interpreted by the sender. There is a potential for error or misunderstanding at all these levels. Now, management communication, traditionally, role of manager is information processor. Managers have communication responsibility in directing and controlling an organization, which is they establish themselves as the center of information network to facilitate the completion of the task. So they're in the middle of action to facilitate the completion of the task and center of communication also. Now, there is what you call leaders as a communication champions. Who is the champions? Who's the leaders in communication champion? A communication champion, a person who is philosophically grounded in the belief that communication is essential to build a trust and gaining commitment to a vision. Embeddedness of people, when people throughout the organization are united around a common purpose based on the deep understanding and acceptance of vision and the strategy. And the definition of sense givers or sense giving is a process of influencing how others make sense of the organization, where they fit within it, and larger purpose of their work. Now, the leader as a communication champion, it could be internal or external sources. He gathered that and use a strategic conversation. And then it's communicated for a purpose of directed and methods like use of rich channels, it needs to be used. So there is, you want to direct as a manager or champion, communication champion, there is purpose for it. So you want to direct the attention to a vision, values, desire, or you want to persuade somebody. And there is a method that you need to use also. Now, strategic conversation definition is communication that takes a place across the boundaries and hierarchies levels about the group or organization vision. So it could be up or down. Critically strategic themes and values that can help achieve desired outcome. So these are the communication type about it. The values about communication that direct them. Now, leading a strategic conversation, how would we do that? Is the fact we ask question and actively listen to others. So we ask question and we listen to others, and probably if we can repeat it, that would be wonderful, to understand their attitude and values, needs, personal goals, and desire. Now, in this, the set the agenda then for conversation. So ask question and actively listen to the others. Set agenda for the conversation, which is by understanding the key strategic themes that are linked to the organization success. And then you select the right communication channel and facilitate the dialogue. There is something called open communication. It's when the leader sharing all types of information throughout the company and across the whole levels. We're gonna look at this, why open the communication climate, why we need that, and we will examine each one of them, explaining further. But read them. What is the benefit of an open communication climate? First of all, helps to elevate the tension and conflict between departments. That definitely build the trust, reaffirm employees' commitment to a shared vision, and make a company more competitive. Now, question that leader ask. There is what you call leader-centered question, and there is what's a follower-centered question. Leader-centered questions that seek to inform the leader about what is going on in the organization. So there is a questions where he wants to know what's going on. I mean, it's toward the leader itself ask this question. Investigate specific issues, problems, or opportunities, and gather information, ideas, or insight. Now, follower-centered questions, where he looks for to, or she looks for to seek to connect with the followers, develop a new insight, encourage critical thinking, and we saw what is critical thinking, expand people's awareness, and stimulate learning. So the benefit of asking questions are helping to encourage people to think and find answers, help build a positive attitude and followers' self-confidence, provoke a critical thought and lead to a deeper, more lasting learning, shows concerns for individuals, develop a new insight, encourage critical thinking, expand people's awareness, and stimulate learning. These are some benefits for asking questions by leaders. Now it comes to listening. Listening is a skill of grasping and interpreting a message's genuine meaning. And one of the good parts, if you can repeat what did you understand, then it can help to confirm what the other is trying to send as a message. Key effective listening. Listen actively. Keep an open mind. Resist the distraction. Capitalize on thought being faster than speech. And seek understanding. Explain that. Judge content, not delivery. Hold one's fire. Listen to ideas or for ideas. Work at listening. Show respect. So these are keys, 10 keys for a good listener. So we said there is what you call a dialogue versus discussion. A dialogue is active sharing and listening in which people explore the common ground and grow to understand each other and share a world view. A good dialogue usually used to discuss the hot topics, participates refined forms such as presuming to know the outcome, trying to sell their convictions, and also characterized by a group unity, shared meaning, and transform the mindset. We take a look at this dialogue versus a discussion. A dialogue and discussion, the difference. Here's the conversation and how the dialogue is happening versus the debate and discussion. And we need to distinguish because we need to seek, if we seek in a certain result, we do a dialogue. If we seek in different result to do a discussion, we need to do discussion. We'll explain that in detail. Candor is the honest, forthright expression of a leader thinking. What the leaders gives an honest opinion. The communication with a candor limit the potential for workplace misunderstanding turning into a hot topic. Let's follower know where the leaders stand and what the leader expects. And the result of candor is everything works faster and better. More people get involved in organization conversation and limits the common organizational problems. We said a good leader might use stories, and stories as a form, the foundation of sense giving. Influence the belief, attitude, and behavior, imagination. So, help leaders to unite people, help people make sense of complex situation, and bind people together in a shared purpose and inspire action. The communication to persuade and influence. Persuasion process is first is listen first, then establish credibility. Then you build a goal on a common ground, and then make your position compelling to others. So you listen first, establish credibilities, build a goal on a common ground, and make your position compelling to others. So that's the first stage. The second stage leads to share a solution or a commitment. And then communication apprehension is a level of anxiety you need to stay away from it, associated with the real or anticipated communication with other people. You screen out that part of it. But to do a communication, we need a channel, a medium by which a communication message is carried from a sender to receiver. We'll talk about different channels, but there is something called channel richness, is the amount of the information that can be transmitted during a communication episode. And there is different channels, and we notice some of them will send a lots of information, some of them is limited information, but faster. Now, a continuum of channel richness. What do you know? We have something of formal, report, memos, email, text, messaging, internet, through internet, telephones, and face-to-face verbal. And we will discuss each one of them separately and see the advantage and the disadvantage for that. The characteristic that influence the richness of an information channels, what are they? It's the ability to handle multiple cues simultaneously, ability to facilitate rapid two-way feedback, ability to establish a personal focus for a communication. I will explain these stuff too. This is what you call hierarchies based on information richness. Well, the best one is kind of a face-to-face discussion, which is richest the medium, facilitate assimilations of board cues and emotional understanding of the situation. Also permits where you direct experience and multiple information cues there, immediate feedback and personal focus. In the telephone conversation, voice also gives some emotional information. Now, then we have what you call the electronic messaging, allow a rapid feedback and personalizations, provide a way to get information to a wide audience. And also we have what you call a print media, can be personalized, conveys a written cues, and provide a slow feedback. This is a writing. And then we have what you call a routine message. Simple and straightforward, convey data and statistics. Efficient communication is a through channel, a lower inner richness. And then we have non-routine message, which is about issue that could be misunderstood. Characteristics by the time pressure and surprises, and should be used in a rich channels. Messages of high importance can be sent using more than one channel, and we emphasize on that, more than one channel. Add weight to the message and keeps the issue at the top of the people's mind. Always emphasize on it and repeat it. So, how effectively using electronic communication channels? Some tips for effective using it. Combine a high tech and a low touch. Consider the circumstances of sending when you send a message. Think twice before sending the message. The disadvantage contributes to poor communication in many organizations, increase the potential for communication errors, and deprives people of a human moment. do and does of electronic mails. These will go through them, pretty important for you when you do emails. Then you have nonverbal communication, a message that transmitted through action and behavior. That's nonverbal. And today what we have, some more communication channels, which is we're using the social media, and somebody says it's not a social and it's not a media, but it's called social media. Developing skills for communication in a crisis. Social media. The internet-based application, including the social networking, wikis, blogs, and so forth, that allow the creation and sharing of user-generated content. But during the crisis, that's what you need to do if you have a crisis. You need to stay calm, be visible and supportive, tell the truth, communicate a vision for the future. That's it. Thank you very much.